So today we're at what is left of Southeast Coal Company. In the early 80s, this was the place to work. Um, Basically, in Paintsville or Prestonsburg, Kentucky, they have had a sister company and branched off to Irvine, Kentucky. So, I mean, it was the job to have. For the area, it was double or triple the money, payroll wise, that you could get anywhere else. Well, the gentleman that owned it, again, he paid really, really well for the area, way more than fair. This wasn't going underground, people. It wasn't surface mining, anything like that. What it was coal cars came in out of eastern Kentucky. They dumped it, and this was referred to as the coal wash. They basically washed it and prepped it for where it was going to go and be used. Some of it was sent away, a lot of it went to power plants. So they decided they wanted a union. Now, I ain't saying anything about unions or whatever. When you got the best pay, the best working conditions, and everything there is in the area, and the owner of the place looks at you and says, "This is my company. I will run it the way I want to run it. If you want to be the boss, you start your own company." And he looks you square in the eye and he says, "You vote a union in, it'll be the last time you walk on this ground." So they decided to vote the union in. And this gate here was put up as the last time Southeast Coal Company was open for business in Irvine, Kentucky. So you fast forward a few years, the owner, he deeded off 50 acres. He really, really liked the area. He gave 50 acres to Carhartt, the manufacturer, and they, so this sat completely idle. Now this area, it had its own airport. It was very, very well self-sustained, So if you look online, it's completely skewed as to what happened to Southeast Coal. You read online, they're talking about lawsuits, that sort of thing. That ain't what happened to Southeast Coal. What happened with Southeast Coal was they voted the union in, the owner shut the gates, and it was never open again. Now, there was ongoing lawsuits and whatnot. Basically, he was owed money and such. Ended up winning those lawsuits. But this place stayed closed until approximately 2014. Around that time frame, a company came in, and the sluice ponds had some coal in them, that kind of thing. They basically ran that coal. It's open a few months, just basically running the coal in the area. But that was the last, and he held strong. Never opened again. So, yeah, that's the story of Southeast Coal Company. I wanted to do one more quick little video. If you look, you'll see indentions in the ground. Like one of them is right there. There was numerous sluice ponds, and the dams were made of coal. And you drove across those coal dams to get where you wanted to around this place. Well, anyway, again, this whole shutting down, that kind of thing, it was kind of a surprise. So a lot of people that was trucking in here out of eastern Kentucky and hauling out of here. They just bought brand new semis. Again, this all happened in the early 80s. This was also when the government came in, deregulated trucking. Now, legend has it, and locals know for a fact, there is a lot of Peterbilts, Kenworths, a couple of cab over internationals, and a whole crap load of dump beds that was buried here because there was nothing for them to do. And so yeah, that's where we're going to leave this story. I kind of forgot to put that in the beginning, but yeah, so if anybody ever needed any rear ends, or with the price of scrap right now, if a feller had a real good metal detector and a real good excavator, one of those aluminum dump beds could be worth a lot of money right now just for scrap. But I think that's where we're going to leave off on this story. But it's sad. You know, my stepdad, he worked here at the time when all this went down. There's a star as you come into Irvine. They light it up at Christmas time. And Southeast Coal Company built that star. His name was Tom. Another gentleman named Jerry. And a couple other gentlemen built that star. And it's the last of what is left of Southeast Coal in this community. And so I've been thinking about doing this story for a while. I wanted to be able to show more, but there's just not a lot you can do behind locked gates and stuff. And we're not going to get into the whole trespassing and that kind of thing. But y'all have a great day. As I was working on my story for Southeast Coal, I wasn't happy with how I ended it. I decided to go back and talk a little bit about who made Southeast Coal. He was a friend to Estill County. He was a friend to a lot of counties. The guy that owned it was Harry Levine Jr. He died of Alzheimer's, I think in 95. We used to take field trips to the old Southeast Coal. The office would be unlocked, that sort of thing. And I had saw this on the wall a few times, but when I dug this up, it kind of took me back to when I was like, I don't know, in second or third grade or something. But there was a quote on the wall in his office from a Chinese philosopher. A leader is best when people hardly know that he exists. Less good when they praise him and obey him. Worse when they fear and despise him. But of a good leader, when his aim is met, his dreams fulfilled, they will say, we did this ourselves. Coming from eastern Kentucky, he did his best to give the best jobs, the best wages in the area. We live in a time where it's hard enough to get people to get up, go to work. I mean, my God, you got McDonald's, paying $15, $18 an hour, and the food isn't handing you any better than it was when they were making $6 an hour. Okay, I mean, people used to be thankful to have a job, and Harry wanted people to be thankful and be proud of the job they had, and he was proud of them. I'm not going to get into the whole union thing, but when the average wage in the area was about $5-6 an hour, and he's paying 20-some bucks an hour on an 8-hour day, with benefits and everything. I mean, what do you got to complain about? These people wasn't going underground. They wasn't losing their jobs. They wasn't their lives. They wasn't. We're not talking underground coal mining, but two things that put Southeast Coal out of business. When Harry started getting older, his son took over what was left. Oh, sorry about that. What was left of Southeast Coal, and the name changed to like DMX or DMT, something like that. But so anyway, they had a coal mine, and right beside that coal mine, it was adjacent to a virgin plot of timber in eastern Kentucky, the Lily Cornet Woods. Alright, virgin timber, never cut, I get it. Well, so, like, the coal mine they were using, there became an issue with the roof. It became unstable or something. So, they owned the track of coal underneath the Lily Cornet Woods. Alright. In the United States, when you buy land, it don't matter if you go out and you buy 10,000 acres or you buy a quarter of an acre. What you are actually buying is the first 6 inches down. Below that, you do not own. It don't matter who you are. It don't matter if you're Donald Trump. It does not. Dang it. Let's try something different here. Maybe a Mountain Dew bottle ain't the best today. Let's try that. Guess not. Dang it. Well, this is about as uncool as it can possibly be. Can't wait to get back in my truck. It ain't made out of plastic. But anyway, so over the years, Harry and Southeast Coal had given the research department at Eastern Kentucky University just an unreal amount of money. Well, so as long as they were getting that money, oh, it was great, it was wonderful. Southeast Coal, the most wonderful thing since sliced bread. Now keep in mind, Eastern Kentucky University sits in Richmond. Okay, Lily Cornet is over in Eastern Kentucky. As the crow flies, probably 125, maybe 140 miles away, plus or minus, 6 in one hand, half a dozen the other. But the second that money dried up, all of a sudden they started throwing the coal industry under the bus per se. Wasn't going to hurt the land. It was going to be an underground mine. The Lily Cornet Woods only takes up a very, very small amount of space anyway. So, ultimately, Eastern Kentucky throws a fit. The big people, they're in with the senators, they're in with the representatives, blah, blah, blah. So, they ultimately get this track taken away, or the rights to mine it taken away, that Harry's son had rightfully bought the rights to. So after Kentucky Utilities basically saying, we're not going to pay this rate for coal, even though that's what they contracted to, agreed to, battling those lawsuits, and the workers at a coal wash plant wanting a union, already making 4 times what the local average wage is. Harry retiring, son taking over. That led to the demise of Southeast Coal. Again, born and raised in Irvine, Kentucky, very near and dear to my heart. Anybody that has ever come into Irvine, Kentucky, near Christmas time. Before you get to the big bridge on 52 coming into Irvine, if you look up to your right, there'll be a star illuminated. I do not remember all the names. Two of them was a gentleman named Tom, a gentleman named Jerry, and there was 4 or 5 that worked on it. That's the 2 that remain in my memory. But that star was built for Irvine by Southeast Coal. So that's just about all that is left. I went up there, went wheeling around there the other day. I found 1 or 2 sluice ponds. Another company had came in and kind of, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago or something maybe, got the, I don't know, remaining coal out of the sluice ponds or something. But there's a sluice pond on the left as you're coming up the hill to the original area. You make a right and go out the little gravel road. There's 1 or 2 left out there. They used to have this thing for like this mint green paint on everything. And I saw a, I don't know if somebody tried to steal it and they just didn't have a way to load it themselves or something. There was like a little piece of conveyor kind of sitting out by the gravel road. And that's that, and a couple of pieces of old like quarry equipment still sitting around. That's it. That's what's left of the place. This place used to have its own airport. Other than good jobs, it offered so much more to the community, and it really is sad. It really is. But I wanted to tell this story, but I couldn't tell it without telling, who he was. So I'm trying to do more stories like this. It's hard when stuff don't exist anymore, when stuff is behind locked gate. I'd love to go in there, get some, video with the old construction equipment, if you will, and everything. But it's one thing to wheel and that kind of thing where it's welcome, leave no trash, tread lightly, that kind of thing. It's another when you got locked gates in front of you, and rightfully so, because there's active railroad tracks in the area. They don't want kids getting down in there, getting run over, and which coincidentally, this is the exact same area that was handpicked by CSX a few years ago. They had a rail car come loose in Winchester, Kentucky, and it rolled all the way from Winchester, Kentucky to there. Basically, the old loading area at Southeast Coal Wash is where they put, I think it was a locomotive, for it to ram into and stop it from going into the city of Irvine. Never really understood it. A significant amount of the population for Irvine is in the Sand Hill area. The Sand Hill area butts up right there on the other side of the river. So I kind of thought that was funny. But anyway, I'm going to leave the story there. And please like and subscribe. I want to do more of this. And you all have a wonderful, safe, blessed week.